Every time the market crashes, the world is suddenly full of experts who claim they saw it coming. But what if there was someone who actually did? Someone whose warnings were ignored, whose predictions were mocked until they came true again and again. This is the story of the man who predicted every major financial crash of the last half-century and what he sees coming next. If you think the future is certain, think again. Meet Dr. Robert Shiller. He's not your typical Wall Street trader or a flashy TV pundit. He's a Nobel Prize-winning economist, a Yale professor, and the creator of the Case-Shiller Index, the gold standard for tracking U.S. home prices. But what truly sets Shiller apart isn't just his impressive credentials. It's his uncanny ability to spot bubbles before they burst, and his courage to speak the uncomfortable truth when everyone else is celebrating. Let's rewind to the late 1990s. The dot-com boom is in full swing. Tech stocks are soaring to unbelievable heights, and the world is convinced that the internet will make everyone rich. But Shiller looks at the data and sees something completely different. He sees prices that have become completely detached from reality and a level of euphoria that is simply unsustainable. In the year 2000, he publishes his now famous book, Irrational Exuberance. Warning that the market is in a massive bubble, how was he received? He was ridiculed by the media, ignored by investors, and dismissed as a grumpy pessimist. But just months later, the bubble burst. The Nasdaq lost 80% of its value and trillions of dollars in wealth vanished almost overnight. Now, fast forward to 2005. The housing market is on fire. Home prices are rising at record rates, and the common belief is that real estate is a can't-lose investment. Sound familiar? Shiller sounds the alarm again. He warns that the housing market is severely overheated and that a devastating crash is coming. And once more, he's mocked and ignored. The party was too good to stop. But in 2007, his prediction came true with terrifying accuracy. The subprime mortgage crisis hit, the global financial system teetered on the very brink of collapse. And Shiller's warnings were tragically vindicated. So what's his secret? How are his predictions so accurate? It's not magic, and it's not a crystal ball. It's his deep understanding of human psychology. Shiller knows that markets aren't driven by logic and spreadsheets alone. They're driven by stories, by powerful emotions, and by the herd mentality that makes us all want to follow the crowd. He argues that the most dangerous time in any market is when everyone believes prices can only go up. That's when the seeds of disaster are sown. Shiller's groundbreaking research shows that bubbles are fueled by narratives, by the convincing stories we tell ourselves about why this time is different. But as he's proven, history always proves otherwise. Let's contrast Shiller's approach with the average investor. Most people chase trends, they react to the daily news, and they get swept up in the excitement of a rising market. They buy high, sell low in a panic, and repeat the same mistakes in the next cycle. Shiller, on the other hand, does the opposite. He actively looks for the warning signs, soaring valuations, widespread speculation, and a clear disconnect between prices and their fundamental value. He's not afraid to go against the grain, even when it's incredibly unpopular. But it's important to understand that Shiller isn't just a prophet of doom. He's also a student of resilience. He knows that markets eventually recover, that innovation continues, and that the future is never as bleak or as bright as it seems in the heat of the moment. His advice isn't to run for the hills and hide your money under a mattress. It's to stay vigilant, to diversify your investments, and most importantly, to avoid getting caught up in the mania of the moment. So what does Professor Shiller see coming next? In recent years, he's been warning about the dangers of what he calls narrative economics. This is the idea that viral stories, amplified by social media and groupthink, can drive markets to extreme highs and lows faster than ever before. He points to the rise of meme stocks, the wild swings in cryptocurrencies, and other speculative manias as clear evidence that the old patterns of human behavior are alive and well, they're just moving at the speed of the internet. Shiller also cautions that years of low interest rates and easy money have pushed asset prices across the board to historic highs. He isn't necessarily predicting an imminent crash right now, but he strongly urges investors to be cautious. He wants us to question the dominant narratives, to ask ourselves if the story makes sense, and to prepare for volatility. In his view, the next crisis may not look anything like the last one. It could be triggered by a new technology, a geopolitical shock, or a sudden unexpected shift in public sentiment. The only certainty is uncertainty itself. So, what are the key lessons we can learn from Robert Schiller's story? First, don't ignore the warning signs. When everyone around you is convinced that prices can only go up, that's your cue to get skeptical. Second, don't let your emotions drive your financial decisions. The best investors are the ones who can stay calm when others are panicking and stay cautious when others are euphoric. Third, diversify. Never bet your entire future on a single asset, a single sector, or a single story. Spread your risk and be prepared for surprises. And finally, remember that the market is just a reflection of human nature. It's full of hope, fear, greed, and regret. The next crash will come, just as surely as the next boom will follow. The real question is not whether you can predict the future, but whether you can prepare for it. So, as you watch the headlines and listen to the experts, ask yourself, are you following the crowd or are you thinking for yourself? Are you chasing the latest hot story or are you focused on the fundamentals? The man who predicted every crash, didn't he have a crystal ball? He just had the courage to see the truth when it was unpopular and the wisdom to act on it. The next chapter of the market is unwritten. Will you be ready? If you found this story eye-opening or learned something new, don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and subscribe to our channel for more insights into the world of finance and investing. Your support helps us bring you the stories and strategies that can make a real difference in your financial journey. Hit that bell icon so you never miss an update. And let us know in the comments what you think Schiller's next big prediction might be. Thanks for watching, and remember, in the world of investing, knowledge is your best defense.